Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Belacor is expected to be playable at some point in Warhammer 3, and while we still do not know what the 9th Legendary Lord is, well, we still don't know most of them, it can be expected that he is the secret 9th Legendary Lord. This makes sense for a number of reasons, mainly because we know we're getting 9 Legendary Lords, and so far Chaos seem to be getting 1 each, Kislev has received 2, Cathay is likely to receive 2, and that leaves us with 1. Well, what better than, of course, a undivided Chaos Force? The idea about this follows with the generic standing with most factions, where, you know, the Warriors of Chaos themselves are just Warriors of Chaos. They are worshippers of the Chaos Gods in undivided form. And we have 4 Monogod factions which are a mixture of demons and then, of course, Warriors of Chaos. So why not one generic Demons of Chaos force only being able to be used by the Demons of Undivided? I'm assuming here the factions would just be given the generic name of Demons of Chaos. The idea could work out quite well if we look at the Khorne faction at the moment. So on screen right now is a screenshot of basically everything that was revealed. However, once we start taking mortals out of the equation, well, it starts getting smaller and smaller, doesn't it? And it's also easy enough to guess that all the other Monogod factions will have a similar roster size by comparison. So once you take all the possible mortals out of the equation, you're left with a rather sizable force of demons. In fact, if speculation shows for, we might have almost the complete army book of the Demons of Chaos for 8th edition already at launch. For those not aware, in the tabletop, demons were primarily played as Undivided and not as a Monogod faction with Warriors of Chaos. That could happen, yes, but that was in events like the Storm of Chaos or the End Times. Now, you might recall the Warhammer forums prior to the announcement of Warhammer 3, where there was a rather popular argument that used to spring up occasionally about the prospect of Monogod versus Undivided, and perhaps this is Creative Assembly's way to have both sides of the argument in-game. Release 4 dedicated Monogod factions for those who just want to pledge their allegiance to a certain god, but also have one faction dedicated to the Demons of Undivided. Here you would only be able to play as demons, and this actually might cause a bit of an issue though. The rosters for Khorne and Kislev aren't very large, we know that for sure, though a Demons of Chaos Undivided, now that might actually be the largest roster of them all. Again, we go back to the Khorne roster, where there are 2 Lord choices, the Exalted Bloodthirster and, of course, the Herald of Khorne. But then if we take into account that Nurgle, Slaanesh and Tzeentch will also likely have 2 Lord options, not including any variants with different forms of magic, well, that takes us to 8 unique Lord options. Now, if we look towards possible units themselves, Khorne already has around 8 demonic units dedicated to him. I'm obviously not including any mortal units or Lord and Hero options, so nothing like the Heralds or the Chaos Warhounds. But like I said, around 8 unique demonic units, and it's very expected that the other Chaos Gods will have around 8 demonic units that are completely unique to them too, which would mean that the Chaos Undivided faction would potentially come out with, well, one of the most complete rosters ever. It's kind of like paying for a race pack in a sense. We also know by Creative Assembly that the demons are supposed to be the main flavor when you're playing Monogod. Those mortal servants are just basically there to act as a push whilst you start getting your demons sorted. So if the demons are the strongest part of that roster, and now as an undivided force we could potentially have all 4 of those parts together, that would be a tad overpowered, where I would assume that some balancing will have to come into effect, or else this might actually be one of the strongest factions in-game throughout the whole series, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Unless Creative Assembly takes some inspiration from the Reign of Chaos table in Warhammer 8th edition for the Demons of Chaos, which gave you buffs but also negatives to your army. It was kind of like playing Russian roulette in sometimes. Not exactly like that, I'm assuming, but maybe you have to build up some faith with a particular god to be able to get your units to a specific power? Or it will work in a term of balancing, like say for example, if you have an army that is primarily Khorne units, but then also some Slaanesh units there too, both the units of Slaanesh and the units of Khorne will have a debuff because they're not in an army dedicated to them. I don't know, something like that might work, keep things balanced in a certain sense? But why Belacor as the leader of Chaos Undivided? Well, it makes perfect sense if you look at it through a lore aspect. First off, he's always been an agent of Chaos, undivided of course, and more of a unwilling one at that, where it has been known that Belacor actively works against the Chaos Gods for his own whim if he is able to. It's most of the time that he is not able to, as of course the gods kind of see all. Generally the Chaos Gods themselves do allow him to work on his own devices, because, well, Belacor is a massive failure where most of his plans have always gone awry, so it could be that a unique campaign experience could be added in for Belacor, where you would actively be working against the Chaos Gods while also fighting against the forces of order and everyone else. Or they could go with some basic old lore where he's always trying to become the chosen of Chaos once again, meaning that he would be actively working against Archaon and trying to gain favor from all the gods. But let me know what you guys think, especially around the balancing part, because I'll be very honest with you, I'm drawing a blank when it comes to this. We know that we're getting 9 lords, and it's very obviously pointing towards Belacor. He's too big of a character, and of course, you know, the fact of a Demons of Undivided faction works out really well. There's not a lot of stress there, as they don't really have to add in anything unique, barring the legendary lord. Creative Assembly obviously have something planned, but let's be honest, it's kinda slow on the information drip. And I've just been thinking about Belacor a lot lately as I've been painting up the new model, and I've been just wondering on how he could actually work in Total War Warhammer 3 without being too horrendously overpowered. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel has been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.